would like to congratulate Taj, the entire team. It's 50 years. It's a great achievement for an Indian brand to reach these milestones. It's a moment of pride for all of us. Then when we go abroad, I personally, when I travel, I look at a Taj property if it is there, whether international or domestic, to be staying in, because it's the hospitality, it's the warmth, it's the culture, which has been built around the Taj brand over years. As we take the moment of pride of an Indian brand moving and striding across, the hospitality sector is growing. There is no growing by going back for the country, no stopping for India. And as we look at hospitality or tourism to be the mainstay, I'm pretty sure in days to come, Taj will still grow. In Goa, they have had great properties. I think they have roughly 30 plus properties in various parts, giving a lot of employment opportunities and also allowing to participate in driving the economy as far as Goa is concerned. We have to understand that post-COVID, we needed to rethink on the whole strategies. And that's where we started talking about regenerative tourism. We started talking about Goa beyond beaches, because more than the coastline, we also need to talk and think about Goa being explored more. The thought of a tourist being immersive, experiential, and wanting tranquility around him, I think this is the best bet that they can have. And the government of Goa is stitching things around to make it better and better for the tourist who's coming in. So when we look at the economy which we are talking about, the regenerative tourism is built upon the 4 pillars of economy, the environment, the society, and the culture. So when we talk about these pillars, it makes tourism very inclusive. At the same time, the numbers has never been a challenge for Goa. Whether it's the domestic numbers on the rise or the international recovery of the international numbers, we have been very positively working towards it. But we need to understand that the tourists which have been coming now, we need to look at the per tourist spend in the state of Goa, which helps us build up on the economy, because we are dependent, tourism being the mainstay of the Goan economy, we are dependent on tourism for economics and for the opportunities of employment directly and indirect. So we are definitely building stories around that, and we need to ensure that we talk about quality over quantity. This thought of quality over quantity as a vision we have started working on, and that's where we find investments of different thought, people coming in different forms, because they realize that the best place to invest is Goa.
Christmas special. We are coming from Goa. We are not here to party, we are here to work, but we certainly want you to party. And the shareholders of IHCL, I'm sure they are having a good party, considering where the stock price of IHCL is done. And for any shareholder, when you talk about IHCL, the party is never complete till the time the real piper of the party, which is creating shareholder value, Puneet Chhatwal, is not part of the show. So let me now invite him on our frame and first wish him Merry Christmas and brilliant and great greetings for a coming year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nikunj. Thank you.
We are not partying here, but we want everybody else to party in Goa, right?
I'm doing always a bit of both.
And this has been a year where shareholders are certainly partying of IHCL.
I hope so. I hope they are happy and pleased. But we are very pleased with the performance, and I remain very confident about the next several quarters, not just 1 or 2 quarters, I think several years. It's a beginning of a great story for hospitality. So hospitality will be scripting a new narrative for the growth of GDP in India together with the tourism sector, the growth of jobs, both direct, indirect, organized or unorganized sector. So I think this is one of those impacts which you get when an economy becomes number 5, might become number 4 next year, and hopefully 27 or 2030 the number 3 in the world.
You know, we've always called the hospitality industry as a cyclical industry. But do you think in India now it has reached a critical mass, and when you reach that critical mass, everything starts moving, everything starts rolling, everything starts picking up? Have you reached that critical mass now?
I would say that the cyclicality in the sector has been there, is there, and will be there. There is one factor which has changed, that is the demand is outpacing supply by not 100 or 200 basis points, but maybe 400 or 500 basis points. But when you get into the granularity of supply versus demand, the supply is coming in newer markets. So in the mature markets, the top 10 markets of India, the supply growth is still limited, and the growth of demand generators is very, very nice for the sector. For example, all this MICE destinations we have spoken about previously, the Bharat Mandapam, the Yashobhumi, the Geo, and many more that are coming, they are inducing new demand which was not existent before. So I think all in all, that is the main factor which is diluting the impact of cyclicality. That's one. From our point of view, our focus on a heterogeneous nature of India with a multi-brand concept, we are able to speak to different segments. So it is also making sure that the volatility in our sector is reduced, especially in our portfolio is reduced. And finally is the change in the business model. From an owner-operator to finding that sweet spot between asset heavy and asset light, so that the asset heavy, which gives you the operating leverage that keeps increasing in absolute amounts, and the asset light gives you the margin expansion. So I think the culmination of these three factors is really helping us.
Is this year's Christmas season better than last year? If it is, by how much?
See, for us with such a strong not like for like growth, it has to be better.
Because you're adding more rooms.
We are adding more rooms, we're adding more brands, we're adding more businesses. So firstly, demand is strong. On top of that, our not like for like growth is strong. And Q3, you know, is the best and the strongest quarter that we have always had in the sector. That base level is very high. So to go on a double digit on that base level is a nice challenge to have. We can do it in Q1, Q2, also even Q4. But Q3, with the wedding season, with Christmas, with New Year, with all possible events happening, because the climate in India is so good, you get more delegations coming in, you get more foreign tourist arrivals. So it's already quite a loaded quarter.
Has it surpassed your internal assumptions which you made at the beginning of the year for this quarter?
No, our strategy has been always that we don't like under promise, over deliver. We promise, we deliver, and preferably a little bit more than what we promised. And that's what we have done consistently.
The hospitality industry has always competed. This time they are complementing each other. I can realize that there is a collaboration rather than the competitive spirit. So Taj has got a dominant market share in Goa. Others are not trying to make it big. Taj has moved to Ayodhya, others are not trying to make it big. Is there some khuspus happening here, or this is just my observation?
No, I think in all honesty, my impression is as bad as COVID was, it did some great things for the sector. When your sector is put into a lockdown and revenue for everybody becomes like zero, like snakes and ladders, and you're put, down to the first point, it brought the sector together more than ever before. So I think the sector got together and natural friendships evolved.
But is my observation right?
Not really. So I was going to say that's one. But the second part is that there is always a leader, and there are other emerging leaders, and there are people who are following. So I think that way, that segmentation of the brands in India is very strong.
So we'll talk about why we are here in Goa. We'll talk about this iconic property. I just want to, weave in a little bit of a trivia for our viewers here. We're standing at Fort Aguada, which is the first 5-star property of Goa. So a lot of memories here. I have a lot of memories here. Mr. Chhatwal have a lot of memories. We'll talk about those memories. But what makes Goa so special for IHCL? More on that when we come back. Goa is perhaps one of the oldest tourist destination in India or anywhere in the world. Taj is old here, but yet young. The hotel where we are is the oldest 5-star hotel of Goa, and it is first 5-star hotel of Goa, and it is completing 50 years. That makes Taj really old. But the fact that you're expanding and you're getting your young brands in Goa makes Taj young in Goa. So what is this relationship what Taj has with Goa?
See, there is history always, creates not just memories, but it teaches you certain lessons. And the resort business of Taj started in Goa. Today, the largest resort operator in India is Taj, but it started here. And the success leads to another success. So Aguada to Holiday Village to Taj Exotica in South Goa, and then came the newer brands, and most recently the Taj Siddhartha Goa, which was also existing for several decades, how it was repositioned and reimagined as a Taj with the new construction of 300 rooms, made it the convention hotel of Goa, which has beautiful scenic views, also for individual travelers, also for foreign tourists. But if you want to do a good event, there's no better venue than Taj Siddhartha Goa. If you want to enjoy the best beaches, there's no better venue than Taj Exotica in South Goa. If you want to have wonderful, life, evening, night, full of hustle and bustle, then nothing better than North Goa with Holiday Village and Fort Aguada. But over the years, we have added 2 Vivantas in Panjim and Miramar. We have added few brands under selections. I just visited the newly opened Astoria here in North Goa. Today we have opened 280 rooms Ginger in Candolim. This is, after the success of Ginger in Panjim and Madgaon and Dona Paula. So, the story goes on. But more importantly, not just the resort business was born in Goa. We have a lot of F&B businesses. We have our homestay business. The story of Ama started in North Goa with Cardozo House and Briganza House almost 4 or 5 years ago. So today we have 40 homestays in Goa, of which 22 are already operational. So a lot of first. We are sitting here in the Paper Moon restaurant. We took on the master franchise for India from Paper Moon from Italy. So this started here. It might travel very soon to Mumbai and to other places in India. We introduced with AB InBev 7 Rivers in Holiday Village. We started House of Nomad in collaboration with Diageo. So not just new brands, but as a hallmark of collaboration. We're living in a world where strong partnerships, strong collaborations will be the way to success. So I think Goa has been very much a great contributor to both our image, moments of happiness, where we say sharing our joy or moments of togetherness, as well as weddings, events. It's been just a fabulous journey, and we are very, very pleased with the development we have had here. Besides some other states too. I mean, it would be fair to say there's many other states where we have had the success story, especially Rajasthan. I would say my number 1 and 2, or number 1 and number 1 would be Goa and Rajasthan.
So which would be number 2 and number 2?
Well, number 2 and number 2 is obviously our Mumbai and Delhi. You can never ignore the capital of India, and you can never ignore the commercial capital of India. But the palaces of Rajasthan that we have, that make Taj a very unique brand in the world. The kind of resort properties we have in the expanse of it. I mean, if you stand on top of Fort Aguada and you look down till Holiday Village, the amount of space that we are blessed with, it does not happen every day, and you have to thank your forefathers that they were great enablers for us to take this journey forward.
Okay, I'll steer the conversation back to when we met last time, and I'll pick up some words from our last conversation. And you said Indian hotel is in a growth mode. Now we are talking about growth mode after 3 or 4 years of resounding success, at a time when the base has become reasonable, both organically and organically. The hotel room count has gone higher, and you've expanded very well. When you say you are in a growth mode, and when it's almost like a forward guidance that I'm young and I'm in a growth mode, define that for us.
Well, firstly, I'll say growth is not just the growth in number of rooms and the dots on the map. first and foremost, I believe in the growth of people. If you're able to make your people grow, the rest of the growth will come on its own. So we have been able to grow our bandwidth, our know-how. Today, the number of scholarships that we have launched, the exposure that we've been able to provide for people to go international, learn and come back. What we have done over the last 3 years, we did not do collectively over the preceding 30 years. So that's the kind of investment that is going into people because we are a people intensive sector. Second is growth of our dots on the map, which you said. But in order to get there, you have to first do comprehensive brand management. So we cleaned our brandscape, which is your foundation for growth. And today, it's not just the Taj that is growing. I mean, ginger is growing at a very rapid pace. And in places where normally nobody would have thought it's possible to have ginger, because that was the mindset at that point of time. So homestays, you know, we have spent no money. There is no investment in homestays.
Is it a lab experiment, or you think you can scale it up and it could become big?
We are 250 odd in the last 4 years or 5 years, despite 2 years of COVID, and of which 125 are operational. So the question is, when do we get to 500, 700, 1000?
It is achievable.
Absolutely achievable. That also provides growth. Growth also comes through various F&B brands. So cumin that was launched as home delivery, yesterday opened at the Chennai International Airport together with TFS. So, you know, tying up with TFS, tying up with West Side, for an example, within the group and creating that group synergies. So, and as all-day diner for all Ginger hotels, cumin, it's a very nice evolution. So we went from the 3R strategy to the 3 E's. 3R was relevant for Aspiration 2022 and Ahvan, and 3E is more relevant for the Accelerate 2030, which you said, where we'll have given certain guidance on what all metrics we are able to achieve. But most important E within those 3 E's was, is, and remains excellence. Yeah. Excellence in doing what we do.
So if we look at the rebirth of Indian hotels, the rebirth actually is that it is getting future ready, or it is already future ready with a house of brands. And those house of brands essentially will remove the cyclicality. When cyclicality gets out, well, it should be valued differently, which is what markets are doing. Markets are saying, look, this is not a cyclical business which goes through twists and turns. 3 good years, 5 bad years, 5 good years, 3 good years. It is now a bouquet of brands which are always moving and which always have the unique growth story, and that takes out the cyclicality.
So as I said earlier, it's a bit of an art and a bit of a science. So you have to have, when you have growth, and if you can define growth by brand, by contract type, being asset heavy, asset light, little bit heavy, or capital light, by geography, how much focus on your home market, and our home market is India. If you want to extend, it could be Indian subcontinent. Maybe it's any destination you can fly within 2-3 hours, or places which are either growing with Indian brands or Indian businesses, or very strong with Indian diaspora, but very selectively. And we have said very clearly, we will not take any other brand outside of India other than, or outside of Indian subcontinent other than Taj. I don't believe we should start doing a ginger in UK or a ginger in Germany. Maybe 10 years from now, God knows, things may change and evolve. But as things stand today, defining growth by geography, by the type of contract, capital light or capital heavy, and by brands is very, very important.
When we had a similar conversation same time last year, you said it's religious tourism. That is something you were very excited about. 2022, when we had this conversation, you said, look, I'm excited about this entire staycation. You were excited about what everybody really spoke about, you only live once, the YOLO crowd. So what is that one feature or that one aha moment for 2025 which you are excited about?
See, the excitement is coming from 2 fronts. The 3 points that you said. Spiritual tourism is very strong, there to stay, coupled with your traditions, weddings, etc., etc. It's only increasing. It's not decreased. You know, if anybody thought, you know, the world is changing, India is changing, the weddings will become smaller. No, they are becoming only more lavish. So that is there. Staycations is a new way of enjoying extended weekends and breaks, which people are doing. Even living in the same city, they are still checking into hotels, something which started very strongly during the COVID time, or took off during the COVID time. And then what COVID taught us, the YOLO that's also out there. I think the next big thing that is coming for our sector is the utilization of the great conference structures that have been created by the government, like the Bharat Mandapam or the Yashobhumi in Delhi, what has been achieved in Mumbai with the Geo convention. You know, anything big happening in Geo means within 5 square kilometer radius, everything is sold out. It's not just when Coldplay announces the tickets get sold out. The hotel rooms get sold out too. If there is a cricket match happening, it also gets sold out.
So conferences and exhibitions are the two new
I
things.
think is going to come in a very big way. We are still not enjoying the global conferences that happen for 2,000, 3,000 people. That will be the day when a lot starts changing.
You know, 3 years ago, when we were interacting and when we were talking about the hospitality sector, you said, look, it'll stay strong. Trust my judgment. It is not cyclical. This is a long-term trend. There were a lot of naysayers, and those naysayers are telling me the following: oh, I wish we would have heard Mr. Chhatwal that time. हमने तो stock नहीं लिया. What would you tell all those naysayers who did not believe you in 2022 and now they are feeling left out? वो कहते हैं ना, FOMO हो रहा है उनको.
See, I would not like to comment on the stock and the stock market and all. All I can say is that the sector will be going from strength to strength. It needs a bit of support. The tourism and hospitality sector needs a bit more support from a positioning point of view. There is still that perception that this is luxury. It's not luxury. You know, more than 90% of the supply is in non-luxury business. So it's a very difficult sector in terms of work hours. You work in 3 shifts, you work 24 hours a day and 365 days a year. So I think this sector has waited long enough, 75 years post-independence. Definitely in the last 2 years, things have started changing. And if we get certain positioning, certain advantages, especially in light of the upcoming budget and budget discussions, not in terms of cash, we have never asked for money. It's always been infrastructure status at the center level. A lot of states have joined, but I hope all states and all union territories extend industry status at the state level. Then that is a very big icing on the cake. That would be under the umbrella of, I would say, for hospitality, ease of doing business and creating value proposition, creating jobs, contributing significantly to tourism. Rajasthan is a double-digit story in terms of GDP. It's more than 12% contribution comes through tourism. And why not elsewhere? Every state has something special to offer. That's the beauty of India.
You know, I normally wrap up the show with the last comment on what we should look forward to, but today I'll take the liberty of wrapping the show by sharing my experience, which is that I've been tracking this company very closely from 2019, and for a business which was always important and relevant has now become crucial from a market standpoint, from an opinion standpoint, from what it has demonstrated in terms of how grit and balance can make the impossible look easy. In my wildest dream, I would have never thought that Indian Hotel would be anywhere close to 50,000 crore. Now it is a commanding valuation of 1,20,000 crore. So it's almost like for me as a financial journalist, it's almost like an impossible looking very easy. So my sincere compliments for what you've achieved. Shareholders to pakka party karenge. And I'm sure after this interview, hum kaam karenge. Thank you very much.
Thank
and
you.
best
Always
wishes
a
for
pleasure.
2025. Thank you very much.